Yo, what is up guys, it Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central, and in today's cast, we have the final of the Alpha Navigators Cup. This one is going to be a best of 5 between Mixu and Snoxtar. Snoxtar up here in the top right playing as the Infernals in the red. And then down in the bottom left, we have Mixu playing as the Vanguard, of course, in the blue. If you guys are watching this video, that means it's Monday today. And that means Stormgate is finally releasing in early access tomorrow. On Tuesday, I am planning to stream the game. I'm going to have a lot of content coming out for you guys. So if you haven't already, for some bizarre reason, subscribe to the channel, guys. There's going to be a lot of casts coming out, a lot of guides, build orders. I'm going to continue to cover the news on Stormgate as we go through the early access journey towards the 1.0 release, which should be sometime in 2025. And I think it's going to be an exciting journey. I'm looking forward to trying out the game, looking forward to playing some of you guys on the ladder, maybe even alongside you in the co-op. So, like I said, if that's something that interests you, feel free to subscribe. And as always, thank you guys so much for the support that you've shown me here on the channel so far. We have surpassed 3,000 subscribers, which is pretty nutty, so thank you guys so much. Also, quick little plug, on the 15th of August, there is going to be a show match between Parting and Theory that I will be casting alongside Titan on Fire. So if you guys want to come along to that, it will be shown on the More Gaming Team Twitch channel. So if that's something that you're interested in, I will be, of course, posting about that a little bit closer to the time, so you guys shouldn't forget it, but I think that's going to be a really great series there as well. Now, to get into this game, though, this, is, like I said, is going to be a best of 5. We are starting off, as usual, on Broken Crown. And at the moment, we see Mixu doing what Mixu does best. He is going to be creeping around the map here with his scouts and a lancer, taking some of these creep camps. He is definitely going more scout heavy than lancer heavy, it seems here. And it looks like Snoxtar knows exactly what's up here. We do see 4 workers on the Therium, which is pretty much the optimal amount that you want to have on Therium so that it continues to enrich, it continues to produce, and you're not mining too much there. So Snoxtar, of course, saw that with the Skull of Shedder from his Hexen. Wow, look at all those rank ups there. I think he just... I'm not sure if did he promote some of those? There is a promote ability for the Vanguard on the top bar that allows you to promote your units and increase their veterancy bonus. It looked like he did promote them there alongside taking the creep camp because, I mean, well, if that creep gives you that much promotion, that would be absolutely insane, wouldn't it? I haven't really played too much of the Vanguard myself in the Frigate playtest. Since the Celestials were like the new kid on the block, I pretty much mained them exclusively, so I don't really have any experience of playing the Vanguard myself, but I have seen a bunch of games. I've casted a lot of games with them, of course, and Mixu is definitely one of the best Vanguard players out there, as he takes down these deer here for 30 Therium apiece. Always a good idea, definitely saves on when you need some of those upgrades later on down the line. And meanwhile, Snoxtar is looking pretty standard here for this first game. He's got a couple of Iron Vaults out. He has expanded. We, of course, see Mixu expanding down in the bottom of the map himself here. So far, pretty standard game going on here, guys. Now, in the last game that we saw Mixu playing off against MSRM, and MSRM, he is a very aggressive Infernal player, but we actually saw Mixu go on the offense instead. With these scouts, these upgraded scouts, he got into the worker line and he did some really nasty damage to the imps, got some great wraparounds on the gaunts as well. Now we can see a ritual chamber coming up for Snoxtar. Now, this is interesting because I've seen Snoxtar do this every single game that I've casted of him. He really likes to go for that ritual chamber, and he mainly wants to go for it so that he can get the upgrades for the Hexen, namely so he can use the Miasma ability, which will, of course, do an infect in a large surface area. He's going to be throwing down a Shroud Stone there, looking to expand at his 3rd position, and just as that happens, Mixu, of course, is coming in here at perfect timing, going to shut down the Shroud Stone and force the cancel there, taking down the imp as well. And he is going to deny that 3rd base for the time being. We also saw Mixu do this in the previous game. He really likes to abuse this cliff, as I've said in every cast with him here. You can actually use the jump jets ability on the Vulcan to jet up the cliff there. So if he... Oh, nice pull with the Weaver there. I wasn't expecting that out of Snoxtar. Like I said, normally he does go for the Ritual Chamber there for the Miasma upgrade, but since he has it, he's just going to grab a Weaver, pull it up the cliff, and he's going to make short work of it there. So the Weavers, of course, have this Lash ability, and it allows them to pull enemy units, or also friendly units, towards them. So a really great unit for combating things like, you know, Atlases, Hellborn, any sort of siege unit that likes to stay in that back line, in the rear line. The Weavers are able to pull those in, kind of like, I'm trying to remember the name of the StarCraft unit. Vipers, that's the one. It's been a long time since I've played StarCraft 2. Was a big StarCraft 2 fan back in the day. Well, I still am a big StarCraft 2 fan. But I will say that as Stormgate's come along here, it has definitely reignited my passion for RTS, shall we say. And thus led to the creation of this channel and the cast that you're seeing now. So there's a bit of random backstory on me. But back to the game here. Look at the map, guys. Mixu, he's such a class act, man. He does this every game. He's so good at just getting out on the map. He has taken every single tower. If it was me playing right now, I just wouldn't have the multitasking abilities to go and send units to all of these different towers and make sure that I'm in control of them. But Mixu, it's no problem for him, and now he's adding to the multitasking by bringing out an evac here. And what is inside of there? Is it an Atlas? Is it a Vulcan? I didn't quite see it there. Maybe you guys caught it. I missed it because I was busy looking at the minimap and fanboying over Mixu's ability to multitask. He's also moving in here with the dogs. It is an Atlas. Ooh, nice hit on the workers there. That's gotta hurt. Oh, he does have to be careful of that Weaver, though. Anytime the Atlas goes down, Snoxtar's going to be able to use that Weaver to grab the Atlas, and he's going to pull it away from the evac and be able to snipe it pretty easily. So, that's probably a major pain in the arse right now for Mixu. I like the use of the mines there, so that's one of the other upgrades you can get for the Hexans. You can get these Venom Traps, they're called. Those green petally flower-looking things that are on the right side of the screen. And when they explode, when an enemy runs over them, they will do 50 damage, and they will infest all the enemies as well. He's using a Hexan to throw down a Miasma there. As far as I know, you can't infest Atlases because they're mechanical units, so not really sure. Either he knows something I don't, or he doesn't know something I do. Either way, it wasn't very effective. But Mixu is going to continue to abuse this cliff area. He doesn't have to overcommit here, right? He just has to be a pest. A nice... Oh, what is that ability called? I forget. He also really likes using the Sentinels. It's basically stasis. I don't think it's called stasis, but that is essentially what it is. It's going to put that unit in purgatory for a certain amount of time. I do believe the stasis can be destroyed by your own friendly units, but of course he didn't have anything around there. But this is going to force Mixu back. And I think this is the first game that I have actually seen of Mixu using this playstyle where he really likes to abuse this cliff on Broken Crown, where he is going to get forced back here. Most of the time, this push for Mixu has led to a win. Not in this situation. I really like the use of the Sprigget here out of Snoxtar as well. Just threatening with the airplay, that's going to force Mixu into some Exos, which we haven't really seen him going for too many of. Normally he's got Hedgehogs mixed in here, but we haven't seen any of those. So this time, he's going for a slightly more biocentric play along with the mech. This is pretty darn close right here. The Weaver, again, gets put in Purgatory. Maybe that ability is called Purgatory. That would be a cool name for it, wouldn't it? Yeah, you guys can see the little blue health bar there. That is, I believe it's supposed to be a drone. I think it's fair to say that the effects on that ability are not finished yet. But he's, of course, going to finish that Weaver off there. It's got nowhere to go. So, nice catch by Mixu getting that one down. Weavers are not cheap. So Mixu is sat here on 4 bases now. Again, just like as we've seen in other games, on this particular map, he opts to expand forwards towards his enemy rather than going for that expansion down there. And this one, as we see Adiko highlighting right now, in perfect timing. Cheers, Adiko. Nice one, dude. Shout out to him, by the way. There is a link to his channel down below. All of these VODs are from his channel, and he is the one running the Alpha Navigators Cup. He's completely behind putting this on. It happens every weekend, or it has happened every weekend during every single one of the beta or alpha tests for Stormgate, and anybody is free and open and available to participate in it. They're able to do that. So if you guys are, you know, wanting to dabble in a little bit of competitive Stormgate yourself, maybe you're somebody who used to play StarCraft back in the old days, and you're like, you know what, maybe I want to hop on that competitive RTS wagon again. Well, no excuses, guys. Go ahead and sign up for the next tournament here, the next cup. Now, Snoxtar is going to get into Mixu's base here, and Mixu's honestly showing just how powerful these Sentinels with this Purgatory, we're going to call it. We're going to keep calling this Purgatory just for the sake of this cast, guys. He's showing how effective this is here, making sure that the Hexen is shut down so it can't get off that all-important miasma on the Exos, because it will absolutely destroy the Exos. For those of you who aren't familiar with what miasma does, it infests all the targets, yes, if they're biological, but it also increases, oh, nice pick there by Mixu on the Harbinger, it increases the amount of infest damage that the units take by 700%. So the infest will do tick damage, it's a dot, and then when the units die with infest, they will spawn a fiend. So this is, of course, extremely beneficial to the Infernal player. It's one of the snowball mechanics for the Infernals that can really get quite out of hand if you get a lot of infests off at the same time. So whilst the Hexens might not look too threatening, they really can be, especially to a group of Exos like this. So Mixu gonna continue his harassment here of the cliff. What? Oh, okay, Snoxtar just GG'd there? That's interesting. Was that an Idra quit? Almost. I don't know, dude. I guess Snoxtar knew something that I didn't. I really didn't feel like he was completely down and out of that game yet, but I suppose when the opponent is one expansion up, sometimes you just call it quits and say, okay, there's no way I'm going to get the advantage back now. So kind of a bit of an upset there, I guess. Snoxtar just, I assume, like, thinking this is a best of 5, he just says, like, I can afford to just give this game away, and I'm not going to bother with it anymore. I don't know, maybe there was some weird technical difficulties that went on for Snoxtar then. We don't have the inside story, but maybe he just thought he was down and out. Regardless, guys, we are going to be moving on here to the second game in this best of 5 series, and we're going to be playing on Secluded Grove, this time with Mixu down in the bottom left here, the man from Finland, and Snoxtar, the Polish infernal beast, in the top right, is going to be playing in red. Going Iron Vault first. Now, we haven't seen this map yet. This has been in the map pool for the Alpha Navigators Cup in general. I believe it is loser's pick. We simply haven't seen anybody pick this map. Most of the time, they've been picking either Boneyard or they've been picking Lost Hope, which are 2 of the new maps for Frigate. The Hexen is going to get a nice scout here off on Mixu, but it's probably going to be forced back soon enough as the Lancer is coming out. Mixu, of course, does have that Bob overcharge available. And here we see the Hexen using its recall ability to get back to base. So there are a couple of units for the Infernals that are able to teleport back to a friendly shrine or a shroud stone. One of them is the Hexen. Another one is the Harbinger, the drop vehicle. It's not really a vehicle, is it? It's more of a weird alien-like unit, slimy overlord-looking thingy, but nevertheless, I suppose it does transport troops, so we can call it a vehicle. So Mixu does this every single game. He loves doing this with the Therium camps. He goes out, grabs that Therium very early on there, and he uses it for his upgrades. He uses it so that he can get up his central command, get into that tier 2 tech, without having to take some of his workers and put them on the Therium. Or as many of his workers on the Therium, I should say. That's always going to be his top priority, it seems, especially in some of these larger maps when there is no threat coming from the enemy player. And that indeed seems to be the case, because Snoxtar right now, he's just expanding, man. So we can sit back, guys. We can have a sip of our water. We can take it easy. There's not going to be anything going insanely wrong for either player. At least not just yet. Now, this I love here from Mixu. I haven't seen many players do this. But what we didn't see, you can see him doing it right there. He actually sent this Bob worker all the way up the left side of the map. He took the trees down right next to where the Therium is, the Therium tower that you can see on the left side. Then he took the trees down at the top of the map, and now he's doing the same thing along the bottom of the map on the right side of the map. So he's opening a channel all the way around the outer sort of course, the outer corridor of the map, so that he has access to all of these camps here. Which is just insane. That really shows you how valuable those camps are. It's worth him, you know, expending a worker here, one going up the top and one going along the bottom, just to cut down the trees to give him access to those camps. Meanwhile, Snoxtar is pretty much, like, I want to say ignoring the camps. He is going for this health camp here because it's close to home, and he's probably going to go and take his observation tower as well. But if you guys want to get good at this game, especially as the Vanguard, take notes from Mixu, man. He is just so good at this creep play, and again, I think it's his multitasking that really comes into play. So pretty soon, we should be seeing tech coming out of either one of these players. I do expect Mixu to go for the exact same thing he's been doing before. He's probably going to get these scouts nice and upgraded here, making sure that they're a threat out on the map. That's going to stop Snoxtar from being too aggressive creeping, too aggressive expanding, as we do see him throwing down a third there to the left of his main. He's going for the Luminite only. And the Therium on this map, between the second and the third, is actually smack bang in the middle. And he is going to have to build another shrine, like a secondary shrine, right next to that Therium in order to mine from it. Whereas Mixu can just put down a scrapyard. So, you know, in terms of Therium mining, I definitely feel like the Vanguard have an advantage on this map. Nice little pick-off by Snoxtar there, though. He gets the Fiend in the main and kills the worker that's constructing the mech lab. Or the mech bay, sorry. I don't think... Has Mixu restarted that? Did he realize? I don't know. He's probably restarted it now, but I was going to say earlier, this is also pretty standard out of Mixu. He likes to get that mech bay out. Once he's got the map control, he's got the upgraded scouts. He does like to get the mech bay out and start getting some of those hedgehogs, start getting some of the atlases. And he's, of course, going to be throwing down that command post of his own here. So here you can see just how handy it is that he's opened up the map to himself. Gets that nice pick on the Brute there. He is throwing down a Ritual Chamber and the Twilight Spire. So, same sort of play looking to come out of Snoxtar. He's going to be going for that Miasma upgrade again on the Hexens, and probably getting out a Harbinger and seeing what he can get done here. But is Mixu going to fall for that? I mean, he knows that that's pretty much what he can expect out of Snoxtar. I would like to see something different from him. Like, I feel like every single game, that's what Snoxtar likes to do. He likes to get this Miasma up, and whilst it can be effective, especially against biological units, which of course the Vanguard have a lot of, it's not great against all of these mech units that Mixu is putting out. So, I do sort of put a question mark on that tactic overall there. So he's gotten the first upgrade there, that channeling on the Hexen, that is him placing one of those Venom traps. Mixu's having a little poke in here, so he sees everything. He sees the Ritual Chamber, he sees the Twilight Spire. He's going to try and get a little pop at this because he wants to shut down Snoxtar's ability to drop. That's going to be a big threat for Mixu. If he's going to have to pull back, that's a major issue for him because he likes to be able to push forward with that mech army. He likes to be able to get the Atlases up and start putting pressure on the enemy and causing them to cave. He's not going to be able to do that as effectively if Snoxtar's messing around with the Harbinger all over his expansions and screwing up his mining. A Shadow Cleft is coming out for Snoxtar though, so that is going to allow him to get Magmadons out. I wonder if Hellborn are the better choice here though, given that he is going to some mech play. There's already an Atlas out on the field and an evac. So that play that I was just talking about is going to be coming out of Mixu once again here. Oh man, let's see how Snoxtar's going to deal with this time. I'm a little bit worried, man. I worry for my boy Snoxtar. Not that I'm favoring him or anything, but yeah, you know, Mixu's such a good player, man. It's nice to root for the underdog, and at the moment, that is Snoxtar as he is 1-0 down. Another nice little pick on that army there. Gonna come in here on the 4th of Snoxtar, or the 3rd, I should say, and have a little poke, but the defensive empowered Strongstone comes down there from the top bar for Snoxtar, so that is going to defend for the time being. Ooh! That was a bit sloppy. I guess Mixu kind of underestimated the range. He lost a lot there. He really needed to keep that alive. And now this evac's got to go home. The second evac, it's got to go pick up a new Atlas. And in fact, Mixu is just going home completely. He's got to regroup here. Oh man, that was not part of the plan. This could change stuff. That's really given Snoxtar a big window for him to get that miasma upgrade ready for his Hexens. And he's going to go and answer this with another expansion. There has been a drop in the main here. I don't think there was a Hexen for the miasma, but this is going to get cleaned up pretty easily by Mixu. As long as you've got that Bo5 overcharge ready, a drop in the main is not too much of an issue. I don't think he did overcharge there, though, because it probably would have been an effect on the Bobs. And it clearly wasn't. I believe that's also a Hellforge there coming up for Snoxtar. So he is going to be getting out some Hellborn. He's basically got all 3 of the upgrade buildings now. He can build Weavers, Hellborn, Magmadons, Hexens, the entire arsenal of the Infernal's units. Now, we have seen Snoxtar use Flayed Dragons with the Miasma ability to great effect as well, so I am intrigued to see if that's a unit that's going to come out for him later on in the game. He's definitely going to need some more energy, though, to spawn one of those. Or Animus, I should say. We've got a bit of a stalemate in the middle of the map here. Oh, that mine! Look at that! Wow, those are beautiful. Boom! It also spots all of those units, so he's going to be able to see exactly where Mixu is going with his army. Okay, I guess it doesn't spot them for very long, so it's already worn off here. Coming out with a nice counter on Mixu's 4th, though, here. And he's getting some decent damage done. This expansion was just now building. Oh, this is nice from Mixu, though. He's set up... Wow! Look at the range on those. Like, I surprised myself there, guys. I was not expecting the Hedgehogs to hit from that distance. I thought, oh, nice pick on the evac there by Snoxtar. There are just dropships going down left, right, and center this game. Snoxtar did manage to get out of there with a Harbinger, but like I thought Mixu was setting those Hedgehogs up on that side of the trees so that if the Harbinger happened to go in that direction, he would catch it and those Hedgehogs wouldn't be noticed. But I guess he knew that they were in range. I say this every game. I see Mixu using these Hedgehogs for anti-air, but they're so powerful. The range on them is insane. The damage they do to anti-air is insane. Sky Mines have been dropped here by the evac, and they are landing on the Shadow Flyers, protecting that evac from the Shadow Flyers. Really nice micro there from Mixu. He is going to have to move back here. He's dropping the Atlases as he goes and trying to defend against Snoxtar, but Snoxtar is going to be pushing forward, and all of a sudden, it looks like, for once, Mixu is actually getting pressured. I'm not sure I'd quite say he's on the back foot. The army is pretty powerful for Mixu here. He's got some Exos there in the back. He's got Lancers in the front. He's got a couple of Hedgehogs in there. He has everything he needs to kite the front of the Infernal army around, and he's doing it beautifully, just staying out of range of the Hellborns there. So they are effectively null and void. They're not effective at all. And Snoxtar, realizing that this battle isn't going in his favor, he's going to start to move back. He is taking down the trees, though, and he's taken that middle expansion. And bear in mind, guys, that middle expansion of this map has not 1, but 2 Luminite mines and 2 Therium patches. Snoxtar's not paying attention, though. Ooh, just manages to move a little bit the last second. So, unlike StarCraft 2, in this game, you can deploy Atlases the same way that you would a siege tank, and then you can pick them up and drop them in their deployed mode, and they will get a shot off very, very quickly. So if you've got a player like Mixu who's great at micro, you have to be so careful if you're looking away from your army, because before you know it, he can just drop those atlases, get a couple of shots off on the army, and they will do absolutely devastating damage. You know, I think one thing Mixu really needs is the upgrade for the atlases right now that causes the shots they fire to leave fire on the ground that does AoE damage. It looks like the atlases are just able to fire slightly faster than the Hellborn, so they're actually able to drop, get a shot off, and then get back in the evac before the Hellborn can get their shots off. Interesting little drop here. Is this a Hellborn drop that he's put out, or did that Hellborn just somehow make its way to this position? It's not going to do anything. That's going to get picked off there. But Snoxtar has a very powerful position in the middle here. Mixu needs to take this base down, because if it just goes on, it's going to snowball in Snoxtar's favor, and he's going to start to pump out units beyond that which Mixu can deal with. Even though Mixu has some incredibly powerful units here, a great composition, he's got the micro skill. If he gets out macroed, it's not really going to mean much. And ooh, big mine hits going off on the Shadow Flare. Great micro there from Mixu again. So those air mines, they actually used to be an ability for the Hornet. They then switched it over to the evac, so the evac can drop these air mines that will explode only on enemy air targets, and that's helping them protect from the Shadow Flares. He does have to be careful with that evac, though. It is incredibly low right now. It's on 30 HP out of 320, so careful. There are just run buyers here on all areas. Like, Snoxtar is trying to get some work done wherever he can, but Mixu's also doing a great job. And here comes another run by the Fiends on this fourth or third base of Mixu's. He's going to get one surround there. But the real danger with the Fiends is that they will kill buildings so fast. Just watch how quickly this barracks goes down. Boom, it's dead. And most likely something else is going to go down. Okay, the army here from Mixu arrives, but he just can't get there in time before the Fiends have sniped something off. So he's going to cause Mixu to split his army in half. He's going to need half protecting his base down there. He's going to need the other half protecting the base up top. And now the Fiends are coming in on the command post. This does not have as much health, bear in mind, as the command center. Oh, really great shield there, though. And like I said, man, he's coming in with the Fiends on the other side of the map here. The Bob Overcharge is going to be enough to defend that position. But this is pretty easy for Snoxtar to pull off, right? Like, the micro that this requires, all you need to do is pump out a bunch of brutes, split them all, and pretty much A-click them all, or just right-click them all on a building. And just doing that, it's going to cause Mixu to fall back and have to micro a lot and split his army and do all the little micro tricks and stuff to defend back home. But now we see the big bad behemoth of the Infernals coming out. This is the Flayed Dragon. So he has stored up enough animus and resources to get that out on the field. The Flayed Dragon does have a couple of nice abilities. It has this massive breath that it can breathe over the entire biological army that infests them all and puts a massive dot on them. But the best thing about the Flayed Dragon is that for any unit that dies to that infest, it doesn't spawn one fiend, but two fiends. So if you couple that with miasmas from the Hexens, that can be very powerful, as we've seen Snoxtar use to great effect in previous matches. Right now, though, ooh, the Flayed Dragon, there it comes out, breathing on the army, but, you know, there's not really too much to back it up, so he really has to be careful that he doesn't lose the Flayed Dragon. In this game, we do have a big amount of exos, a large chunk of exos, I should say, for Mixu, and he should be really going on the command post there. The command post is super low. I wonder why he didn't snipe the command post there? I guess he just A-clicked into the base. And this has actually given Mixu the opportunity to repair that command post and get it back up. I'm almost certain he could have gotten it there. Well, I suppose if it would have gotten sniped, he would have put the shield on there instead. A big miasma now coming down, and he's got to be careful for that deep breath. Oh, look at all the Fiends now starting to come out. They breathe on all of the units there. But the bubble from the Sentinel is actually going to protect them and make them do less damage. But now you can see all the Fiends starting to come out. Like I said, guys, for every one of those biological units that dies, it is going to spawn two Fiends. And you can just see how quickly that fight started to snowball in Snoxtar's favor. And GG. Snoxtar is going to take game number 2 Well played to him. And we're going to be moving on to game number 3 here on Isle of Dread. So we've got Mixu down in the bottom left corner here, playing as the Vanguard in the blue. And up in the top right, we have Snoxtar, playing in the red as the Infernals. Which is certainly a fitting colour for the Infernal host, isn't it? So Isle of Dread, another one of the new maps here that came in with the game in the frigate test. Very interesting mechanics on this map. There are these waterways that you're going to have to traverse with your army, and depending on the units you have, like lighter units will traverse through them no problem, but heavier units will get somewhat slowed in them. So that's sort of the approach that Frost Giant are taking to their map design in Stormgate. They want to try lots of different types of maps out. They want to try lots of different mechanics. So that's why you'll see these different sorts of things. They want to see what works. We've of course got is it Jagged Moor, one of the maps which has a creep camp with a siege camp where you can spawn a catapult, which we've seen some very interesting games on. It's no indicator of whether that's going to be the thing in the future or the case in the future, but I think it is cool that they're trying all different sorts of maps. So if you guys play in early access, you're going to be experiencing lots of different stuff going on here. There is also 2 different routes into the bases, so you can sort of come in from the left position, you can also come in from the right position. There are waterways. If you guys look at the minimap, you can see the light water, so you can approach from the left or the right there. And then similarly, when you expand, you've got 2 choices. Off to the right of Mixu's base, if you check the bottom right, you do have a Luminite and a Therium expansion, but then off to the north, you actually have double Luminite mines. So you can choose, do you want to go for Therium, or do you just want to like max out on Luminite and start to produce some of those more cheap tier 1 units? But Mixu, playing pretty standard for him here. You see he's gone for that Therium tower straight away, going for the Luminite after that, and then he's probably going to make his way across the map and try to take the other Therium tower and the other Luminite tower. But Snoxtar this time is a little bit earlier out on the map. Nobody getting an expansion up just yet. I do expect to see a shrine coming out of Snoxtar. Oh, there we go. There's the shrine right now. My bad. I guess I missed it. So forget what I just said, guys. Snoxtar is expanding. He's going to be going for the Therium Luminite side here. And it is quite difficult to defend. You'll also notice, take note of this cliff right here, right where that Therium tower is. That is going to provide Mixu with a great position for his Atlases to snipe over there and kill workers. In fact, he could completely shut down that base if he gets Atlases there, and I'm almost certain that Mixu has that as part of his game plan. That's why he wants this tower as well. If he can get control of this tower, not only is it giving him those resources, but it's also giving him vision. And similarly for Snoxtar, it's important that he holds it so he knows that none of those Atlas attacks are going to be coming. Kind of playing chicken here at the moment, seeing, you know, who's going to commit. Mixu's upgraded scouts are pretty powerful, but they won't do any extra damage to the brutes here, since brutes are heavy units. They can get a nice pick there on the Hexans though, and now they just simply run away from the brutes. So whilst they can't really deal with the brutes aren't doing insane damage to them either, and as you can see, you can pretty much just run around them. He is going to get some nice kills here on the imps though. There's not really a lot that Snoxtar can do about this. A bunch of the imps go down, fiends are coming out, and they're going to go down as well. Just look how fast these scouts shred those light units. And now he just runs away from the brutes. This is what I worried about with Snoxtar taking an expansion on this map, is even if you go for the double Luminite expansion, it's just so far away from your main base. And you have such a long travel time to get there, especially with these slow-moving units like the brutes there. So what you saw Mixu doing there is using the salvage ability for the Vanguard. So if you aren't aware, Vanguard are actually able to salvage any of their buildings and get 100% of the resources back from them. Nice picks here from Snoxtar, though. He is going to shut down all of those scouts. They are now all dead. But those scouts have already served their purpose. So what Mixu did here is he got out the barracks, he got out the biokinetics lab, he upgraded the scouts with the Beryllium claws, he got out on the map with them, he did what he needed to do, he took map control, he's taken all of the towers, he put on some pressure, he killed some workers, and now he's doing a tech switch. He's just going to salvage the barracks, he's going to salvage the biokinetics lab, he doesn't need those anymore, and he's instead building that mech bay and the mech lab, and he's going to be getting out the atlases, and somewhere there should be a hangar bay going down so that he can get the evacs as well. But Snoxtar is going to march across the map, and he's looking for blood, man. He wants to get something done. There comes the hangar bay, because he knows this is coming. Like, both of these players right now, they're playing exactly the same in all three of these games, so there's not any kind of interesting cheeses or rush tactics that have come out of either of them. They're both playing just incredibly standard, going for the long macro game. But I think Snoxtar realizes that if he plays that kind of game, he may not always come out on top, especially not on this huge map that perhaps favors Mixu a little bit. It's going to allow him to get the time to get out those evacs and get out the atlases. But Snoxtar is coming in here with a nice attack on the main of Mixu just as the evacs are going to be coming out, just before the atlases come out there. He's throwing down shrine stones here as well with the imps. I love this. Okay, there comes the overcharge for the bobs. Let's see if he can defend against this. There are 3 dogs coming in here, but even with the overcharge, a lot of these bobs are going to go down. Okay, Mixu is coming up now with an atlas. These things can actually fire when they're undeployed, and he's not deploying it there because obviously Snoxtar would instantly get the wraparound. And I can't believe, honestly, that Mixu has come out of this as unscathed as he has. I mean, there are a couple of fiends left, and sure, he's lost some workers, but I'm still pretty shocked that he didn't get absolutely slaughtered. The bob's now repairing the atlas, and the few atlas here on the ground, they are going to finish off these fiends, and the bobs are going to mop up the rest. Or are they? There are more brutes here streaming in. There's also a shroud stone still building there in the main. There's only a single bob attacking it, so if Mixu waits too long to take that down, he could easily go and deploy the atlases, of course, and snipe that off. The shroud stone is now up, and it's starting to target down one of the bobs. Now, the bob overcharge, you guys can see just how insanely powerful it is. If he would have not had that overcharge, this would be a GG. Like, right now, he would have lost every single one of those bobs before the atlases even arrived there. It is an incredibly powerful ability, and now Snoxtar is actually going to come down and try and do a second attack on the natural here for Mixu, or at Mixu's base. The bobs, they don't, like, even though they don't have the overcharge, though, they can, of course, repair each other, though. So you can just use the auto repair ability, right-click, and they will just repair each other. And Snoxtar is actually going to GG out of this game. He says, okay, this attack hasn't done enough. And Mixu is going to take that game going up 2-1 as we move on to Lost Hope. So yet another new map in the Frigate playtest. This is the 4-player map. And we have actual close spawns this time. So we got Mixu down here in the blue playing as the Vanguard once again. And Snoxtar going to be spawning up in the top left. Going for that Iron Vault first. So this is game point, guys. This is game point for Snoxtar. For Mixu. Snoxtar absolutely needs to win this game to bring it up to 2-2. Otherwise, it's going to be a 3-1 win for Mixu. So let's see what he's got in store here. I'm not sure he feels that great after that attack there. I would have honestly felt a little bit hard done to if I was Snoxtar, because by all accounts, I feel like that attack should have just won Snoxtar the game. It caught Mixu off guard, but the bob overcharge, it was just too powerful. And I think Snoxtar thought, you know what? Even though he's got the overcharge on here, there's nothing here but bobs. Surely, with my entire army pushing into them, I'm going to be able to take them down. And he did kill some of them, to be fair, maybe half of them, but only at the main. And, you know, just with a few atlases to defend, Mixu was miraculously able to come back and defend that. So I don't think Snoxtar expected that at all. And so this game, he's just going to be going for a nice, safe, early shrine here after the Iron Vault. And he's going to be going in some macro play. I'm sure we're going to be seeing the Biolab come down any second here for Mixu. He has some bobs there on the Therium. Probably just going to be getting enough for that Varillion Claws upgrade. And so that he can get the Central Command. You do actually need the Central Command now to get the Varillion Claws upgrade, I believe, in Frigate. It's changing every playtest, guys. So, you know, what prerequisites you have for the upgrades, what the upgrades are called, what the buildings are called, what the upgrades do, all of these things are being chopped and changed in every playtest. And since this playtest is no longer live, sometimes it's hard to remember exactly, but somebody commented on one of my casts the other day, and they said apparently that was the case in Frigate. You have to get Central Command first, then you can get the Varillion Claws. So I think that's what we're going to see Mixu doing here. Although, that being said, one key difference with this map, as compared to the other maps that we've been watching so far, is that there are no Therium towers. So it looks like there's a Luminite tower there at the top, there's one over on the left, and then there are a bunch of speed camps and some observation towers. But that's it. So there aren't really as many of these resource towers that Mixu can abuse to his advantage and use against Snoxtar. So maybe he's going to change that up. Maybe he's not going to go for the Biolab, but he's instead just going to expand himself. I'd like to see the main at the moment. Yeah, so okay, there is no Biolab. He's just going to start getting some theory in there for a rainy day, I guess. Probably to take the Central Command eventually, but I guess getting the Varillion Claws is just not really worth it with the lack of Therium here. The scouts are still coming out though, and they are no slouches without Varillion Claws. Definitely do some nice damage there once they're fully upgraded. And they are, most of them now, tier 3 on the veterancy. That's giving them 30% more damage and 60% more health. Taking out the observation tower here. Oh, my mistake. It's actually 4 Luminite towers there are in this map, not 2. And Mixu, of course, is going to take all of those. So we're going to have an easy time getting some Luminite hairy things up, such as expansions. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see him go and take a third here. He is floating 700 Luminite. So we'll see what he does with that. But right now, he's just going to be running around and threatening. He does check in the third there as Snoxtar just to make sure that he's not sneaking in a super early third base. And he isn't. So Mixu's just going to back off. And Mixu, of course, as predicted, taking a third of his own there down in the corner. So that's the one with the Luminite and the Therium. The natural that he took there is a Luminite only. And Snoxtar are going to be doing the same, but his expansion, of course, is going to be a little bit behind, especially with the infernal building mechanic, which, well, there is no building mechanic, right? You have to wait for your building to construct. There's no way to speed it up. Whereas, of course, for the Vanguard, you can speed it up in several different ways. You can overcharge the bombs, you can add more bombs so you build that structure quicker. So Mixu's expansion here is almost instantaneously up and running. Whereas for Snoxtar, it's going to take him much, much longer, right? You know, currently, Mixu is mining from that third. Snoxtar's shrine is still building, so Mixu is going to start to pull ahead in terms of macro here. But we see the same thing coming down for Snoxtar once again. That ritual chamber is coming out. He's going to be getting the Weaver, most likely predicting some Atlas, possibly Vulcan shenanigans. And for Mixu, we're going to be seeing Mech Bay, Mech Lab, and Hangar Bay, his favourite. And we'll see what he's able to get done with this. I am a little bit miffed we didn't see him abuse that cliff I was talking about in the last game. I guess he didn't really get the chance because he just was attacked by Snoxtar. He defended well and then he won the game that way, but there's already an Atlas out here. So we could see the habitat down there actually boosting the production speed of the Mech Bay. You can upgrade the habitats here either into a solar habitat, which will, I believe they increase the production speed of a building by 50%. So definitely worth getting, especially if you only have the single Mech Bay. What you want to do when you build your units is make sure that you're building them close to habitats so that if you upgrade the solar habitat, it's in range to boost that production building. And sometimes it is indeed more beneficial to do that than it is to spend 150 Luminite to make a mech bay, you can just spend 100 Luminite upgrading the solar habitat there. So Snoxtar going to be summoning in some of these venom mines here. I do find it kind of weird that the Hexans are obviously summoning in these mines, but they almost look like mechanical mines, which I feel doesn't really suit the Infernals that well. Maybe those are just placeholder though, and they're going to be changed in the future. I'm not sure, but we'll see. There's a lot of stuff in this game changing all the time, guys, so if you do see things, especially in this frigate playtest, and you're like, wow, that looks kind of weird, that looks kind of placeholder, think of the creep camps and stuff like that, rest assured, a lot of it is going to change. The sounds are changing, the artwork is also changing and seeing a lot of improvements as we've seen recently. Mixu is going to be coming up just straight up here in the main and plaffing some of these imps with a few energy balls. He's going to get chased down there, but he's just going to go into... Oh, nice pick there by the Weaver. And just look how much damage those Weavers do to the heavy units. Taking that Atlas down to half health. And they're actually able to walk up and down cliffs because they're so tall and lanky. The Skull of Shedders giving chase on the evac there, using the boost to get away though, so nice macro there by Mixu. And he's just going to start kiting this army back. He is going to continue to drop the Atlas and try and get some hits. Oh my god! GG already by Snoxtar, and he just straight up leaves the game, man. I don't know, dude. I feel like Snoxtar is kind of getting a little bit irritated there towards the last game there with Mixu's Atlas play. I feel like he's perhaps internally saying, you know what, I can't even be bothered to play against this annoying Atlas drop play. This is overpowered. I'm out of there. But I gotta hand it to Mixu, man. He really is great with the micro, and he is going to take this series and the cup 3-1 over Snoxtar. So guys, Stormgate is releasing into early access tomorrow. I'm going to be live either here on the channel on YouTube or over on Twitch. There is a link to my Twitch in the description if you guys want to come hang out and say hi. I'm going to be playing it as much as possible. I'll also be releasing a couple of videos on the new playtest tomorrow, so keep an eye on the channel if you enjoy the content here and subscribe so you maybe don't miss out on those. But as always, guys, thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for supporting me here on the channel. It really does mean a lot to me. And good luck tomorrow in your games if you're going to be jumping in early and playing during the early access if you're a Kickstarter backer. Alternatively, if you're not, by the way, you can purchase an early access pack over on Steam to get early access to the game. But otherwise, the game will be available for free on the 13th of August. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.